No need to stress. We have the couch for you with Dr. Pez.
I forgot to get questions from the audience before we started. So, Martin, if you have a question, please go ahead and post it in the chat box. You as well, Johnny. But Dr. Pez, I will start with one of my own. What has happened to the tight ends in the NFL? Is it still an important position? Is it something that we need to have to win a championship in the OrkneyBowl? Or are the tight ends becoming obsolete?
Not at all. Not in the Orkney scoring. Not how Johnny's put his scoring together. Let me just get the week 5 stats, because if anything, I think this week was a great week for tight ends. Let me just get it up, because I think there's some heavy scorers, like Brock Bowers had himself, speak of the devil. Stats for this week: Brock Bowers won at 37.9, Kittle 34.6, Tucker Kraft, who seems to be the main guy at the Packers.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting because I do remember reading something last year, because he came in to the season injured. And people were saying that they wanted Tucker Kraft to be the number one tight end. He's the more dynamic guy. And you're starting to see that this year because he's getting heavily utilised. His last 2 weeks, 22.85, 31.85. Kyle Pitts, 4th at 25. So there is a significant drop-off from the top 3 to 4th, but the top 6, 7...
Kyle Pitts, 25 points this week.
And he looked good. The thing is with Kyle Pitts, everyone said he only turned one direction running routes last year because he was injured, and I think he was playing injured. Then this preseason, they turned around and said he's fully healthy. And then the first couple of games, he was getting the targets, but he couldn't separate. And if anyone watched him at the Florida Gators, that was like his number one thing. Separation was just key for him. And I don't know whether the injury he had, was it to his knee or his ankle, has just took him a little bit of mental time to get confidence back into himself to run properly, run true and free. Because this last game, he was getting separation all over the field. And if that's what you're seeing going forward, Kyle Pitts could be an absolute monster, because Kirk Cousins throws it all over the field, but uses a tight end a heavily amount. So to your question,
Dr. Pez,
tight ends,
yes,
tight ends, I think are only just getting warmed up.
I tend to agree with you. It's just not the Kelsey, crowd that we expect to be leading. And I like the new movement in the tight ends. I like to have some new blood. But Dr. Pez, I have something that's bothering me. It's been keeping me awake at night. I can't sleep. I need some help. Is Tank Bigsby running back 1 material? Is he a weekly start? Or should I hold off on my Tank love?
If you've got him in your team, because he's going to be heavily rostered now, I don't think you're going to be able to pick him up. I think he's still a wait and see, but 31.6 points in Orkney scoring this week. He has a really good next 3 games, according to projection. He's got the Bears, the Patriots, and the Packers. And if anything we've seen with these Packers games, they're like points fests at the moment. So if you're at a spot, I probably, after the last game we saw, I probably wouldn't hesitate, because that's 2 games now. 7 attempts, 90 yards, 13 attempts, 101 yards back to back. He's clearly getting clicking. So with his next 3 games, I reckon he is a flex-worthy play. Definitely.
So if we are talking about flex-worthy players, another thing that's been bothering me, my wife is in my ear every day, whether it's a Pittman or a Downs. I don't know. Dr. Pez. Should I put Downs in my flex spot or should I put Pittman in my flex?
See, it's hard to say because we've had Flacco the last 2 games, and
Right.
it's like,
well, that's another thing. Should I give up on Richardson?
if there's other quarterbacks available who are doing better,
That's always.
Yeah, he's clearly trying to do something. He's clearly trying to show that he can be a pocket passer instead of playing natural. Is that going to change? Because they've got a bye week in week 14. It's not like, they've got a bye week in the next couple of weeks so he can have a week off, assess how he's been playing, and just go, I'm not comfortable doing this. I need to use my legs more. I need to have a bit more variety. At the moment, I just don't know how he gets, how he starts producing better at the moment. I don't think I'd drop him. If you have the ability to bench him, I'd 100% keep him there until you see, that rushing ability come back, because he's not really shown it at the moment. Right. And then you've just got to be scared that every time he fucking rushes the football, he's either concussed or injured. Like, for the size, he is Cam Newton 2.0. But he's just not a better. He's just not as good of a thrower as Cam Newton. Cam Newton. The funny thing is,
I think Cam Newton was MVP, right?
Cam Newton was never really an amazing thrower of the football. It's just because he knew how to use his rushing with his throwing to create time and space. And Richardson needs to grow into that. Cam came into the league like that, and Richardson is behind the 8 ball with that ability because he is Cam Newton 2.0. He really is. For a big guy, gets injured, can rush, is an okay thrower. He just can't put it all together at the moment. And the thing is, that was his issue coming out of college. We're seeing he's technically not improved, and fair enough, he had a shoulder injury. So it's hard in that respect to then improve on what you need to improve on. So technically, this is like his rookie year again. So he's almost having like a struggle to understand himself. But yeah, I keep him on the bench just because of the potential threat of what he can do.
We are in the OrkneyBowl. And right now, I am throwing out Mayday signals. SOS. I need help. And I'm wondering if Baker Mayfield is the guy to answer my Mayday. Is he the answer at quarterback in the OrkneyBowl?
I'll just go back to, because obviously we got onto Richardson, the Pittman Downs situation. Yes. Looking at the stats and stuff, as wild as it
looks
says,
like when Flacco starts.
As wild as it says, no, even if Anthony Richardson comes back, as wild as it might sound, if you're going to play someone in your flex, I'd actually choose Downs over Pittman at the moment. Look at the scoring. Yeah. Downs in every single game.
Outscored Downs.
Downs in every single game has had the targets with Richardson or Flacco. Pittman's best 2 games have been these last 2 games with Flacco. Last year, I had Downs in fantasy, and he was amazing because Richardson was so much more comfortable passing to Downs than he was Pittman. So at the moment, I think Downs is the hot hand until Richardson shows he can get a bit better chemistry with Pittman.
Right. So yeah, I bet big on Pittman this year on a couple of teams, and I am regretting that choice today.
Onto Baker.
Alec Pierce and Josh Downs is looking much better.
But
what about my Mayday? Is Mayfield the answer to my prayers? My SOS?
At the moment, I think he is, because the thing is, I know McMillan has been out the last couple of games of a hamstring, but then you get Palmer who comes in, Trey Palmer who comes in. as long as all his weapons stay healthy. And I know Rashard White's stressing people out because he's not been good. And then Bucky Irving had a poor
Yes.
game, the last game. But that I think they've got to be one of the most healthy teams at the moment in the league. And as long as all his weapons stay healthy, yes, I think he's gonna I think he's gonna keep on producing at these numbers because he's just he can spread the ball around. He's quite comfortable. He can run. Yeah, he makes some dumbass mistakes, but yeah, at the moment, I think you could comfortably go Mayday.
Yeah, I think they're looking quite good. I think they're looking very good, actually, right now. Uh, don't worry, we're going to get to the Devontae question, but before we go there, you mentioned the Vikings earlier. They, to me, when it comes to their team, and especially their offense right now, they are reminding me of the last year's Dolphins. And if you remember, 2 years, 3 years ago, the Cardinals,
Yeah,
when they come out like 10-1, 11-2, everyone's throwing MVPs at Darnold and Tua, and Tyreek is going to get 2,000 yards. And then last year, if you remember what happened to the Dolphins, actually, it's continued to this year. I think they've won twice in 10 games.
and also don't forget the
Right?
Cowboys. Remember how the Cowboys were first half they did detonate teams, and then the second half they wouldn't do anything because they didn't need to. I'm glad you said this because you literally took the words out of my mouth as soon as you said it. Like they are going to get found out soon. They're not necessarily
Yeah, I mean, they're 5-0. They're looking good.
not.
And I'm proud of them. If you're a Vikings fan, you should be very happy right now.
Oh, 100%. But it's not. I'll rephrase what I just said. Then I went a bit hot in my take. It's not that they're going to be exposed. I think they are an all-round good football team, but they're going to come up against, for example, the Lions, who are an all-round complete team, whose defense can come and get you, and they're going to have a game soon. And I'm going to chuck it out there that week 7 against the Lions, they're going to get battered. Now,
That could be, but I expect them to win that, and they're going to go
no,
10, 11 games looking like the best team in the NFL, and everyone is just ushering them in the Super Bowl. And it happens every year. A team like the Vikings comes out, gangbusters, 10-2, 11-1, and then the last 5-6 games, nothing.
I don't think they'll beat the Lions.
You don't think they'll be?
No.
That's going to be a fun one.
I
I'm definitely going to watch that one.
I think the bye weeks come at the perfect time for the Lions to get themselves straight because against the Seahawks they weren't defensively good. But for me, the Vikings are going to come up, and it's probably going to be the Lions where they're going to get punched in the mouth, potentially be behind. I don't think they've been behind in a game yet, and Sam Darnold's going to have a horrible game.
They've been losing for only 3 minutes for the entire season.
Exactly, and I want to see when they get punched in the mouth what happens to Sam Darnold because I don't know whether he'd be able to. The warning signs have been shown there against the Packers last week. They nearly let the Packers come all the way back and beat them. Against the Jets, if Aaron Rodgers didn't force a ball to his receiver and took his time a little bit more, the Jets could have easily won. It's almost like these last couple of games, they've just got through off the skin of their teeth because they get up to these big leads, slow down, like you said, the Dolphins, the Cardinals, these kind of teams. And there's also an adage to say, teams who start this hot are almost putting more film on tape for everyone else to see what they're doing. And eventually,
Well, putting a target because everyone is saying, "Oh, wow, the Vikings are 5-0. We want to go out and make a statement. This is our statement victory."
Yeah, but
right?
Look at the scores they've won by. They've won by big margins. You're putting so many plays on tape, defensively and offensively. Eventually, there's enough big brains in this league. They'll start figuring that defense out, and they'll start figuring Sam Darnold out. Like, Justin Jefferson gets injured, Sam Darnold is fucked. It helps when you got the best wide receiver in football. But you are bang on right in your take. You are really right in your take.
I don't often have these clarity moments, so I appreciate that. Thank you,
No,
Dr.
bang
Pez.
on.
I'm feeling much better today. But I do have one more question. Davante Adams, if you, the OrkneyBowl fantasy owner, could choose any team in the NFL to put Davante Adams in a realistic spot, where would you put him?
Do you know what?
Obviously, you want to say the Seahawks, but that's not realistic.
No.
So let's choose a realistic spot.
It's not realistic. Do you know what? Before last night, I would have said, I don't think the Jets. Well, maybe the Jets just because of his connection with Rodgers, but I'd have said potentially the Saints is the one that just. I feel like if the Saints got him with Olave and Shaheed, it would make them think.
Okay.
Do you know the one who I would not be surprised if I woke up and found he'd been traded to? The Buffalo Bills.
Well, the Bills have a reputation of doing that with the Diggs trade. I don't think Adams is worth a first. I don't know if I would pay a second for him.
It's a third.
Because second round wide receivers, you look, DK Metcalf is a second round wide receiver. So I don't know if I would take Metcalf or Adams over Metcalf. I don't know if I would pay a second for Adams at this stage in his career.
No one's paying a second. No one's paying a second. It'll be a third at best. It'll be a third at best. Like the Saints, for example, third at best, and then maybe sending something their way. The Buffalo.
The Raiders are going to have to eat some of the salary of Adams.
Yeah.
Right?
Like the Buffalo Bills, you get Adams, and it's like they want picks and compensation, so you can send a Matt Holland, a Curtis Samuel that way. You could send. Well, they don't need another tight end. They've got 15,000 other fuckers. So you could do something like that because you're giving up Davante Adams. You just need a piece back, don't you, really? But the Buffalo Bills, because even though Keon Coleman had his really good touchdown.
Well, yeah, he had a couple of good plays.
Did you see
looked explosive.
Did you see the play where he ran his route and Josh Allen hit him square in the back of the head?
I did not. I did not. I wish I would have. That right there, the 70s and 80s plays that we used to have on NFL bloopers. But I guess the NFL doesn't want us to watch those plays anymore. I would love to have seen that. I love it. Dr. Pez, I feel much better. I really do. Yeah. I
Just a quick dark horse. What I think will be trouble for a lot of people if the Commanders went and got him.
Oh, he's scary.
Could you imagine
Terry
that?
with
the way Jaden Daniels was throwing that football?
Going to make the playoffs, man. The Commanders are going to win the NFC East. They're going to win it. The Eagles might be the team that misses the playoffs.
Do you know what I'm so annoyed about? I was so confident that Jaden Daniels would have got off to a really good start. And people need to remember, off air, we talked about the difference between the Commanders and the Seahawks. Dan Quinn's been a head coach before. Dan Quinn's been in the league before. And if you remember with the Falcons, he did this exact same thing. He got them to the Super Bowl. He did this first-year turnaround like no tomorrow. And that team is I think that team is a legit threat. Like, they really are.
Just imagine if the Browns had a quarterback like Mayfield. How good they would be.
Oh.
I'm just thinking, if the Browns had a quarterback, maybe they should trade for a quarterback. That might help them.
Oh, I can tell Batch isn't here. He's been taking strays all day. But if I was the Devontae manager,
we're watching the show. He's hiding recover.
If I was the Devontae manager for fantasy, I'd be praying for the Bills.
But isn't Batch with the Tuberville Titans? That's his team, right?
I don't know. Is it? He's in my league.
Doesn't he have the highest scoring team in OrkneyBowl?
Let's have a look.
Oh, that's Everett. Okay, that's Everett. Sorry, that's not Batch. That's Everett. Yeah, Everett has the highest scoring team.
Oh, yeah.
E-Dubs has the highest scoring team, not Batch.
Big Ed.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I apologize. I have our guests mixed up, which it's probably the Bloody Marys speaking.
I effed up in my Orkney this week. I had Daniel Jones on my bench for a starter. He got 30 points. But I forgot about fucking Devin Singletary. So I've literally got 0 points. The guy I'm playing is projected. He's got no one else to play. He's got 2-1-2. I'm projected to get 1-9-3. And if I just switched him with Eckler or Akers, I probably would have easily won this week. Fucker.
Well, the team that I played is going to score like 290 points. So, I don't know what to. I'm not going to win that game.
Right.
I am going to score like 190, which I think 190 in the OrkneyBowl is pretty solid, right?
I don't know,
but
200 is just like going to be the fucking common thing in that league. It's horrible.
Well, not for my team. Not for my team.
Right.
All right, Johnny. Dr. Pez has put a smile on my face. Thank you, Doctor. Till next week in our next appointment.
Get yourself in here, you smug bastard.
Watch, I believe. We have no, we're not doing rookie watch. This back to our rookie watch. And right here, Pez. I want to start with number one. We've mentioned his name, but we really haven't talked about him that often. Brian Thomas Jr. Is he going to be a top 10 wide receiver this year in points scored?
The way he's going, yeah. He's got a good connection with Lawrence early. They're clearly comfortable with each other, and he's that quick. You give him an inch of space, and he's gone like that touchdown. Is it 80-something yard touchdown? I was playing in my home league. I was playing my mate, and we were both at the bar watching Red Zone. And the Jags came up, and literally he just watched it like, what the fuck was that? It's great. Great to have him on the team. He's every week start. Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, I think he's gonna be the number one. Him and Neighbours are gonna duel it out for the wide receiver one for the rookies. I really do.
And somebody has to be very proud to have a Tyrone on their team.
I'm telling you,
because he's looking like Barkley number 2 yesterday. 129 yards. He's bowling people over. He's making moves out in the open field. I mean, I kept drafting Eric Gray. What was I thinking? Tyrone Tracy is there, available.
Yeah, He looked really good. And if you got him early, you're going to be feeling real smug about yourself because
you're Seahawks. I'm sorry, I didn't even.
No.
Yeah.
He was.
It was the Seahawks defense. So
I asked Johnny to put him on there. To put him on there because I was watching the game and going, "Oh my god, this Tyrone Tracy is an absolute monster." Like it took him a bit to get going. Eric Gray had like 3 catches in the first drive. Then after that, he just took over. He was a monster. Like, see you later, Devin Singletary. I don't think's even getting the start back. Like Tyrone Tracy looked very impressive.
So I was happy to get Keon Coleman on the board with a TD. I'm not really interested in talking about him, though. He hasn't been doing anything so far this year. 1 catch for 49 yards. Well, that's what you expect out of a second-round wide receiver, to be honest.
Yep.
At least that at minimum production. So let's move on to Caleb Williams. That really, honestly, we haven't talked about that often because he hasn't been performing. Has Caleb Williams turned the corner, as they say? Should we expect this type of game from him every week?
No, but I think it's a great game. It was always going to be a good game against the Panthers, and this is perfect for his development as a rookie quarterback as he struggled to get going. This is the kind of game he needed. Give him confidence because he bangs on. He's an arrogant little fucker, isn't he? So he bangs on about, I've not felt nervous since high school. Your play on the field hasn't shown that, mate. You've looked at really...
I don't think Eric knows what people expect him to say.
Yeah.
And he's just playing the game. Like, people want me to say this, so I'm going to say it because that's what I'm supposed to say. But it's all bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much. But to be fair to him, let's just have a quick look at the Colts. No, 2 interceptions. So the Rams...
I am not a Bears fan. I grew up hating the Bears, but I kind of like Williams.
He has a 3-game... He's got it really good. The Rams' defense isn't great, so he had a good game against the Rams. He had a great game against the Panthers. He's about to go against the Jags, where I expect him to have another good game because they're just like a...
Where the Jags are on their... that's their true home.
Yeah, they're like a leaky tap on defense. The shootout central. So I expect him to have a good game, except for it is in London. So it'll be really interesting to see how he copes with that. And then they're on a bye. So
yeah, I love seeing highlights of the Cowboys. There you go. Tolbert. There you go, Tolbert. Game-winning touchdown. I love to see it. I wish I would have watched it live. But, the alcohol was speaking to me last night, which if you were in the OrkneyBowl WhatsApp group chat, you would have known the alcohol was speaking to everybody last night. Anyway, so
Pete Carroll, Martin. There's not a
really.
There's nothing worse.
Pete Carroll took the Seahawks where they have never been before. I hated Pete Carroll as a Jets coach, as a USC coach. When he went to the Seahawks, I hated the move, but he was awesome for that franchise. He developed Russell Wilson to be a top 5 quarterback in this league. And as soon as Russell leaves, Pete Carroll, look what happens. Right? Yeah, I don't know why there's so much hate for Pete Carroll.
No. See, he was great for the franchise, really good. The whole comment was the 1 yard line on what's second down.
Yeah.
You literally you have 3 more attempts. Marshawn got shoestring tackled. Marshawn's getting it in on the 1 yard line. There's no stopping Marshawn Lynch on the 1 yard line. But Pete, the thing where Pete started going downhill was he was so great as a coach because he got all these extroverted personalities and let them be themselves. Like if they were with a Bill Belichick, no one would be talking about the Legion of Boom and who they were because he would have tried controlling them. Right. Pete Carroll let them be who they were. But in that second Super Bowl, Pete Carroll wanted to try and transition the team into, no, I'm in charge of this team because...
You've been hating Pete Carroll for what, 12 years?
I've been... The thing is, I've been disapproving of him for... When the Legion of Boom disbanded, his coaching style is like hands off. I expect them to turn up ready and presentable. And that's where he went wrong because he had a bunch of players who held themselves accountable in the Super Bowl years. Thank you, Martin.
Yeah, I agree.
His coaching style.
I have been a Pete Carroll hater for decades. Literally decades.
Right. I'll put it to you like this,
but
Pork.
I will say, if he was my coach of my team and he brings me to 2 Super Bowls and 1 victory, I'm going to have a little bit of love for the guy.
But then there comes a point, yes, I'll always respect him for what he did then, but there comes a point where it becomes stale. Like when I do Seahawks podcast, it's the old, if you watch the Premier League, he was the Arsene Wenger of the NFL. Okay. Just because he won us a Super Bowl and got us back to another Super Bowl, everyone just let him do what the fuck he wanted. And it detrimented the team massively. Hence why this year you didn't see Quandre Diggs back, you didn't see Bobby Wagner back, you didn't see some of these big names back because they...
Well, the Seahawks aren't performing any better this year.
I do see where you're coming from, but it's you can't.
You look. I just took a look at the Seahawks schedule, and I hate doing this. I don't want to pick on you as a Seahawks fan, but I mean, literally, they played the Broncos, the Titans. No, wait, that's preseason. They played the Broncos, won 26-20. They played the Patriots, won 23-20. They played the Dolphins, 24-3, great victory. And then they finally play the Lions and got smoked. Played the Giants and lost. I mean, it's not like they're playing lights out.
The thing is, right, this conversation is going to take far too long. That Lions game, yes, by the score, we got smoked. In that fourth quarter, there was flags, there was other things where that game could have flipped on its head within a second. The Giants game.
You're right. Every NFL game.
The Giants game.
A flag here.
The Giants game, you could question whether physically holding this long snapper down so he can't defend anyone is legal. Having a hand on a face mask is legal. Holding all games without a flag being done is legal. And we're 5 weeks in. I don't give a fuck about any of that. We're 5 weeks into a brand new thing. You cannot compare Mike McDonald to Pete Carroll. Martin's completely right. Pete Carroll is a veteran coach. And thank you, Martin. The Broncos look pretty fucking good at the moment.
I love it.
You can't compare a 5-week brand new coaching staff to Pete Carroll. Right? You can't do it. Look at your Cowboys. Sorry, but look at your Cowboys. You are who you are because you don't change.
We are 4-2. We're 4-2.
Oh, right. You're always 4-2 until the playoffs, and then you're.
Hey, you can't bring that on me. I am the one that comes on here and says the Cowboys suck.
No, Pork.
We're going to struggle.
You can't poke.
And I'm a proud fan.
You can't poke me about my team and sit there and go, oh, I told you though, the Cowboys are who they are. No, fuck off. You cannot poke me.
You know what?
No chance.
You know what? I think we're going to be 4-2 next week. I think I might need to get, that Super Bowl ring size for my 6th finger. How many rings do you have on your hands, Pez?
When were all them rings got? Fucking, I don't think I was even born.
Hey, I'm old enough to remember 3 of them. Okay.
Fuck's sake.
Oh, I love it.
Martin's absolutely curveballed us. But anyway, back to fantasy. Tyrone Tracy, if he's out there, go and get him.
Oh my!
Tyrone
By
Tracy.
the way, Martin, your kid, beautiful. Love your profile picture on your WhatsApp. I love your choice of clothes. I love originality. You look awesome. I love it. All right, Johnny, let's go.